In the middle of a season filled with rumors, pressure, and nonstop noise around possible roster moves, the Golden State Warriors stepped onto the court and delivered a performance that felt like a deep exhale for everyone watching. Against the New York Knicks, the team looked composed, confident, and dangerous, the kind of version that reminds the league why this core is still taken seriously. Nights like this are important not just because of the win itself, but because of what it represents when everything around the franchise feels uncertain. The backdrop made this game even more meaningful. Trade speculation has been swirling, conversations about the future have grown louder, and the focus has often shifted away from basketball. So to see the Warriors lock in and play a complete game felt like a statement. When this group plays with clarity and commitment, they still look like a team that belongs in the championship conversation. That reality showed itself from the opening minutes and only became clearer as the night went on. Stephen Curry set the tone early, even though his shooting rhythm took a moment to arrive. He opened the game, missing his first few attempts from deep, but there was no panic in his body language. Once the first one fell, everything changed. The movement without the ball, the quick decisions, the confidence pulling up in transition, it all snapped back into place. By the end of the night, he had carved up the defense with a mix of shooting, playmaking, and control that only he can bring, finishing with 27 points and reminding everyone that his impact goes far beyond the box score. Jimmy Butler matched that intensity on the other side of the star equation. His performance was a textbook example of controlled aggression. He attacked mismatches, got to his spots, and never let the defense off the hook. What stood out most was his decisiveness. There was no hesitation, no drifting in and out of the game. Every possession felt purposeful, and the result was a 32-point night that balanced scoring, physicality, and leadership. When Butler plays with that mindset, the entire offense feels sharper. But as dominant as the Stars were, this game once again proved a truth that defines winning basketball in today's league. Superstars can carry you far, but they cannot do it alone. The difference between good teams and great ones often comes down to the players around stars. And on this night, the Warriors' role players showed up in a big way. That support changed the texture of the game and allowed Curry and Butler to thrive without forcing anything. The most eye-opening performance came from Moses Moody. His journey with the team has been anything but linear, with fluctuating minutes and questions about his long-term role. But this game was a glimpse into why the organization continues to value him. Moody played with confidence, shooting the ball as if every attempt was destined to fall. He finished with 21 points, knocking down 7 shots from beyond the arc and spacing the floor beautifully. His impact was felt immediately whenever he checked in, and the Knicks simply could not leave him open. What made Moody's night especially encouraging was the way he let the game come to him. He did not force drives or try to do too much off the dribble. Instead, he embraced what he does best: quick releases, smart positioning, and solid on-ball defense. Performances like this explain why his name carries value around the league and why fans feel conflicted when trade discussions surface. Players who can swing a game with shooting and effort are hard to replace. Another huge boost came from Brandon Podziemski, who continues to show flashes of a unique offensive skill set. He played with a fearless edge, hitting tough shots and making quick reads under pressure. His stat line reflected just how efficient he was, scoring 19 points on nearly perfect shooting while also contributing on the glass and as a passer. Some of the shots he hit felt almost unreal, the kind of attempts most players would never think to take, let alone make. Podziemski's confidence is a double-edged sword at times, but on this night, it was a weapon. There were moments where he seemed to bend the rules of shot selection, fading away late in the clock or improvising in tight spaces, and yet the ball kept finding the bottom of the net. It is easy to see why opinions on him vary, but games like this highlight his upside. There are very few players who can create something out of nothing the way he occasionally does. Beyond individual performances, the overall team execution stood out. The Warriors took care of the basketball, limiting turnovers and valuing each possession. That discipline made a huge difference, especially against a physical Knicks team that thrives on capitalizing on mistakes. Ball movement was crisp, spacing was clean, and the offense flowed naturally without feeling rushed or forced. When the Warriors play within that structure, they are incredibly difficult to slow down. Shooting from beyond the arc also played a major role in the outcome. The Warriors found open looks and converted them at a high rate, stretching the defense and opening lanes for drives and cuts. This balance between perimeter shooting and interior pressure kept New York on its heels all night. It was not just about making shots, but about creating the right shots, and that distinction matters when evaluating sustainable success. Defensively, the effort was just as important. The Warriors communicated well, rotated with purpose, and avoided the kind of breakdowns that have hurt them in other games. While there were moments where the Knicks found some rhythm, the overall defensive focus never wavered. Help defense arrived on time, and the team did a solid job closing out on shooters without overcommitting. Games like this also highlight how thin the margin can be during an NBA season. A few missed rotations, a handful of careless turnovers, and the entire narrative shifts. Instead, the Warriors controlled the controllables and put themselves in position to dictate the game. That level of maturity is encouraging, especially for a roster blending veterans and younger contributors who are still finding consistency. As the season continues and questions about the roster remain unresolved, performances like this serve as a reminder of what is possible. The Western Conference remains tightly packed, and every win carries added weight. Improving positioning, building confidence, and establishing an identity all matter, and this game checked each of those boxes. The Warriors did not just win. They looked like a team rediscovering its rhythm, leaning into its strengths, and proving that it still has plenty left to say as the season unfolds. As the game continued to unfold, the rhythm the Warriors found started to feel intentional rather than accidental. There was a sense of trust developing on the floor, possession by possession, where players knew where the next pass was coming from and where the spacing would be. That kind of chemistry does not appear overnight, especially for a team that has been juggling rotations and roles all season. Yet against New York, it showed up in subtle ways, from quick swing passes to timely cuts that punished even the slightest defensive hesitation. Jimmy Butler's influence went beyond the scoring numbers, even though his stat line alone told a powerful story. What stood out was how often he forced the defense to react to him, collapsing the paint and creating openings for others. He was patient when needed and aggressive when the moment called for it, a balance that kept the offense steady even when the Knicks tried to change coverages. The lack of turnovers from him was just as impressive as the points, because it reflected a level of control that sets the tone for everyone else on the court. Stephen Curry's performance carried that familiar emotional weight that Warriors fans know all too well. Every movement, every relocation after a pass, every quick release reminded you how rare a player he is. Even at this stage of his career, his conditioning and focus allow him to impact the game on multiple levels. He was not just scoring, but directing traffic, drawing defenders out of position, and making the right read almost every time. Watching him operate still feels like watching a masterclass, especially when you consider how defenses are built entirely around stopping him. One of the more encouraging aspects of the night was how the supporting cast responded to the gravity created by the stars. Players were ready when the ball found them, stepping into shots without hesitation and attacking closeouts decisively. That confidence made the offense unpredictable, which is something the Warriors have been searching for. When defenders cannot cheat off shooters or load up on Curry and Butler, the entire system opens up. Al Horford quietly provided stability in the front court, doing many of the little things that do not always show up in highlight reels. His positioning on defense, timely contests, and ability to stretch the floor with his shooting added another layer to the game plan. There's a calmness to the way he plays, a veteran awareness that keeps possessions from spiraling out of control. His presence allowed others to play more freely, knowing there was a reliable anchor behind them. The bench continued to be a defining factor, especially with Moses Moody sustaining his hot hand. Every time he touched the ball, there was an expectation that something positive could happen. That kind of momentum is contagious, and it lifted the energy of the entire unit. Even when his contributions did not extend into every statistical category, his shooting alone altered the defensive scheme and gave the Warriors breathing room. Brandon Podziemski's performance also sparked conversations about his long-term role. His ability to score efficiently while still making quick decisions with the ball speaks to a high basketball intelligence. At times, he still plays at a pace that borders on reckless, but nights like this show why coaches are willing to live with those growing pains. The talent is undeniable, and the confidence he plays with suggests he believes he belongs in moments that matter. Defensively, the Warriors maintained a level of physicality that matched the Knicks' style. They did not shy away from contact, and they stayed disciplined when switching and helping. That effort prevented New York from stringing together long scoring runs, which was crucial in maintaining control of the game. The communication on the floor was noticeably sharper, especially compared to earlier stretches of the season. Turnovers, often a lingering issue for this team, were kept to a minimum. That alone changed the complexion of the matchup. By valuing each possession, the Warriors limited fast break opportunities and forced the Knicks to score against a set defense. This attention to detail may not be flashy, but is often the difference between closing out games and letting them slip away. The absence of certain key players on the opposing side was acknowledged, but it did not diminish the importance of the win. Good teams are expected to handle business when opportunities present themselves, and that is exactly what the Warriors did. They did not play down to the moment or lose focus. Instead, they treated the game with the seriousness of a group that understands how tight the standings are and how quickly momentum can shift. As the season moves forward, the challenge will be sustaining this level of execution amid ongoing uncertainty. Rotation changes, trade rumors, and injuries can all disrupt rhythm, but performances like this provide a blueprint. When the Warriors commit to ball movement, defensive discipline, and collective confidence, they look like a team that can compete with anyone on a given night. There's also a growing sense that younger players are beginning to understand what is required to win at this level. The margin for error is slim, and every possession carries weight. Seeing players embrace their roles, rather than forcing themselves into bigger ones, suggests progress that goes beyond a single game. The Warriors are still navigating questions about the future, about how to maximize the remaining prime years of their stars while developing the next wave. But nights like this reinforce why that balance is worth pursuing. The blend of experience and emerging talent creates possibilities, and when everything aligns, the result is a brand of basketball that feels both familiar and renewed, leaving the sense that this team is far from done writing its story. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. The NBA world is buzzing with whispers that could shake the league to its core. Sources close to the matter suggest that Giannis Antetokounmpo, the reigning MVP and a perennial all-star, may have given the green light to a move that could redefine the balance of power in professional basketball. According to insiders, the Golden State Warriors have reportedly intensified their pursuit, increasing their offer in a way that is making front offices from coast to coast sit up and take notice. The possibility of Giannis joining a team already stacked with talent and championship experience has sent shockwaves through analysts and fans alike. Imagine the combination of his sheer athleticism, versatility, and relentless drive paired with the Warriors' perimeter shooting and strategic brilliance. It's the kind of alignment that could dominate headlines and redefine eras. Speculators are already envisioning the impact on team dynamics, playoff matchups, and even the delicate salary cap considerations that every NBA franchise navigates with precision. The Warriors' willingness to elevate their offer suggests they are ready to go all in, a signal that they see this as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Meanwhile, the league is reportedly monitoring every move closely, with rival teams weighing how they might respond if this deal actually comes to fruition. Social media has exploded with fan theories, mock trades, and heated debates, further fueling the frenzy. While nothing is confirmed, the very suggestion of Giannis possibly aligning with a dynasty in the making has set off a wave of speculation that could dominate the NBA offseason narrative. For now, All eyes remain on the whispers, the behind-the-scenes negotiations, and the tantalizing what-ifs that could change the landscape of the league forever. One thing is clear. If this rumor holds even a shred of truth, the basketball world may be on the verge of one of its most shocking and talked-about moves in years. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.